Joining us now is the head basketball coach at BYU, Dave Rose, as he prepares for a trip to New York City, his second to the NIT Final Four in 4 years. Coach, welcome back to Studio B.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. You know, when I'm sitting waiting to come on here, I'm actually very impressed with your memorabilia, and you have a lot of basketball stuff. But the one thing, the most impressive thing in here has got to be the shovel.
We asked Tom Holmoe for that.
Groundbreaking shovel.
How cool is that?
That is so awesome. And you walk right past the building as I came over here this morning. They're starting to actually put the beams on the roof of the actual gym, and that's might be as exciting as us going to the NIT, going to New York, is that we're finally getting this thing built, and we're going to be in there pretty soon.
I try and walk over, and we are above it over here, and take a kind of a panoramic picture every couple days, and so by the end we'll have this nice little thing. But
that's good.
I'm with you. I see the beams go up, and I go, I can kind of see the core.
It's
there.
real.
The vision starts happening.
And when they poured the floor, you know, I wanted to go out and kind of, you know, paint some lines on it. I realized that there will be a wood floor, but the concrete floor was awesome.
It's exciting.
Put your hand in it. Dave Rose was here.
That's right.
The head basketball coach at BYU, Dave Rose, in Studio B. Do you get to do anything besides play basketball in New York City, or is this just strictly a business trip for hoops?
Well, it is actually. I mean, and it's put together where it's really a tight frame. The best thing could be if you win on Tuesday night, then you're going to have a Wednesday and a Wednesday night where the kids might be able to enjoy the city a little bit. Hopefully, you know, we've got to practice Monday afternoon. I'm thinking Monday morning we might be able to do something, but you know, the morning on the East Coast with these players, you know, with the 2-hour time difference.
So early.
I mean, they'd sleep till 4 if you let them, you know, and that's 4 in the afternoon. So, you know, but I'd like him to see a couple things in the city before we get rolling, and then hopefully if we win on Tuesday, then we'll have a day on Wednesday we can do a little bit more.
I imagine Cheryl wants to see Hamilton or something Wednesday.
Yeah, she found 2 tickets yesterday online for $2,200 a piece.
That's it?
Yeah, but
What in the world?
That won't be happening.
She doesn't have to sit on the front row. Gee,
I think you're in the orchestra.
How is the Dragon Kyle Collinsworth?
You know, he's still struggling. You know, he hadn't eaten up to yesterday. Then yesterday he decided to kind of force feed himself and try to get going, and it didn't respond very well. So he wasn't at practice yesterday, and hopefully we can get him to practice today, even if he's not feeling, you know, great to actually practice, but get him in the gym and actually be part of our preparation. He got himself one of the tough ones, and the most difficult thing was that it actually didn't start until like Monday mid-morning, and so, you know, the fact that he actually played on Tuesday. I mean, anybody who's had that bug this year knows that there's a couple days where you can't do anything. Getting out of bed is very difficult, and the fact that he got out there and played was amazing, and then the fact that he was actually successful. I mean, he was good. He was good at what he did.
10 points, 5 rebounds, 4
except
assists.
for the one 3-point shot. That
Shot clock was winding down.
But you know, I think it was the wind was blowing in there.
Someone opened the door or something.
Something happened. Yeah. But I was so impressed because when I came into the locker room and saw him, I mean, his face was whiter than his jersey, and he didn't have a lot of energy. But and it wasn't like. I mean, I mentioned this on the radio. It wasn't like he came up to me and said, "Coach, I'm ready. Let's go." And that's what usually happens when kids have been sick and they want to come play. And so they try to trick the coach and say, "Oh, I'm fine. I feel great." And Kyle's deal was, "Hey, I'm not feeling very good, and I'll go in there and play. But if you don't like what you see, then you just get me out of there." And so 20 good minutes. Big game, big win. And I know they all felt a lot better, especially those seniors, walking out of that Marriott Center with a big win.
Absolutely.
Their last time.
Absolutely. Well, for now, he's still hibernating in the Dragon's Lair. That's what he has tweeted out. So we wish a very quick recovery to Kyle Collinsworth. But what kind of effect did you notice him playing have on the locker room, both pregame and in the middle of the game and after the game?
Well, I think that halftime was probably the biggest key for me, because we went into this game not knowing. We hadn't seen him for practice or for shoot-around. And so we didn't know what we would get from him. And I think we got into the halftime and realized that he would be able to help us. And it really gave, I think, a big lift, a lot of confidence. We came out to start that second half, and he played the first 4 or 5 minutes. And, we got a lead, and then we had him sit, we was going to rest him for a few minutes, and we just took off. I mean, it was amazing. Got on an 8 or 9 point run, but he just gave us a lot of confidence, knowing that we could use him if we needed him.
You talked about how you want, at the beginning of every year, you want your team to have I think you said a special experience in March. Has this been the special experience you were hoping for?
Well, I think anytime you can win a postseason game in a national tournament, there's a lot of tournaments that go on after the season's over, and we've been really fortunate in 11 years. We've either played in the NCAA tournament or the NIT. The very first year in the NIT, we didn't advance, and then we went 3 or 4 years in a row in the NCAA tournament where we didn't advance. And those are tough endings, really tough endings. Even though you're excited that you got to the tournament, the fact that when you can advance in tournaments, those are special times, and they're special days preparing. They're special times in the locker room after the game, and then you show up the next day preparing for the next game. You talk about you take a tight team and you can make it really even tighter. One of the most satisfying things as a coach and a coaching staff is that these are long seasons, and there's a lot of things that go good, and there's a lot of things that don't go very good, that cause a lot of problems. And the fact that you still have your team in the middle of March, late into March, to where they'll play for each other and play together, you know that you've got a special group of guys.
I think the number that we came up with yesterday is by the time you tip off next Tuesday, there will be 16 Division I teams still playing of 351. So it's a unique situation to be playing that late in March.
Yeah, and I think that every coach will tell you that it's just like every other championship in the NBA or in Major League Baseball. You want to play your very best basketball at the longest part of the season when you have injuries, you have issues with each other, everybody's on each other's nerves, and that's what makes championships so special, is the fact that you get through all those really difficult things. I mean, the games you saw last night, when the Duke-Oregon game and it's amazing. All 4 of those games, one team dominated the game and ended up with a pretty lopsided score. And it's interesting to try to keep your team together, really competitive late in the year is a real challenge.
I've got a request for you Tuesday night. We have tickets to Smashing Pumpkins in Salt Lake, but I think they're taking the stage at like 9. Could you avoid overtime?
You know what? How could this be any better? Okay, for just a fan, and you obviously got to have a little cash. But if you're just a fan and you want to come to New York, Bruce Springsteen's in the Garden on Monday.
Oh, man.
The NIT on Tuesday, Iron Maiden on Wednesday, and then you've got the
final
the NIT on Thursday, and then catch a flight to Houston and get the Final Four.
Oh.
How great would that be?
Best week ever?
That would be a good life.
You totally avoided my question.
I don't think I have any control over that.
Oh, okay. Just avoid overtime. That's all.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can take away from the first trip that you made to New York City in the NIT Final Four that you can utilize maybe to your advantage this time around in preparation, or is it just a unique because it's different? It's a different year.
Well, I think the only guy we have is Nate that actually went on that trip with us, and I think Nate's been on every trip we've ever made. Okay?
He was on the 51 NIT championship team too, wasn't he?
That's right, with Roland Vinson and.
Hutchins.
I think that for me and for our staff, the way that we handled that, we got a good game. Our guys played well against Baylor. We didn't beat them. They controlled the boards and finished the game off at the end. But the challenge to these guys will be from the experience before that we've been to this point. Let's advance. Okay, let's get back there. Let's win the first game and get in the championship. And then see how things fall. But I think we'll prepare pretty similar because I think we got ourselves in a position to win that Baylor game. We just kind of got outplayed at the end.
Are certain players going on missions harder than others? Like, say, Zach Sellius, where you get tempted to think, like, oh, what would that be like on next year's team?
Yeah, I think that's Eric Mika. When freshman Mark Bigelow, guys that come in and have outstanding freshman years, and they've made that commitment and they're on their way. With Zach, I think we just keep telling them that if we keep winning, then you don't have to go on the mission. Because there's always another game, Yeah. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, because you want to honor, like, yes, you go on a mission, you do, but yeah. I imagine it can be hard.
And then the guys that have these great freshman years, I really believe that the mission is really special and helps that player. The player who didn't play a lot his freshman year gets out there and kind of gets a little bit confused about what's going to happen. But he understands the system. He understands how it's going to work. These guys who have had really good, successful freshman years get out there, and that time that they have to think about their experience just breeds more confidence and more desire and more passion that when they get home, they're going to be even better than they were their first year.
Let's end with this. Do you hope TJ Haas, who's coming home from his mission Tuesday, is in New York at the game? Because he wants to be there.
TJ Haas will be home before our season ends. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
He could be at MSG Tuesday on his way home. He wants to go to the game. I've talked to Marty.
Yeah, and we're excited to get him back. And then right after TJ comes Eric, and then right after Eric comes Peyton Dastrup. And one of the greatest things that happened to me this winter was I actually went and watched a guy play in a high school gym, dominate, win a state championship, and he's actually coming here in the next month or two.
Yoli Child. Yes.
He beat my Copper Hills Grizzlies.
How amazing is the fact that we're going to have a guy actually play in March in a state tournament and then play at BYU that next fall. That's a great thing.
BYU probs.
Yep.
By the way,
we got a lot of problems, but I'm looking forward to this class. These guys coming in, that's for sure.
Hey, if you win the NIT, I'm going to dye my hair blue.
He said that.
Whoa,
that's a real thing.
That is good. What shade? What shade of blue?
Whatever shade you want.
Okay.
What shade do you want, Coach?
It'll be similar to this lighting.
So it's royal. Yeah, Fort Kalani. Yeah,
that would look good.
I've got the contingency plan set up if and when that happens. Coach, great to have you in Studio B.
All right, guys, thanks a lot.
Wood over.